From Washington, this is VOA News. Al-Shabab takes claim for Somalia bombing. And in Nigeria, the town of Jos struck by a bomb attack for the second time in a week. I'm Vincent Bruce, reporting from Washington. Somalia's Al-Shabab militants have claimed responsibility for a complex attack Saturday on the country's parliament building. At least 18 people were killed in the attack. VOA's Gabe Joselo has a report.
Officials say the militants set off a car bomb at the main gate of the parliament complex in central Mogadishu, where members of parliament were meeting. Witnesses say the blast was followed by several smaller explosions and gunfire. Member of Parliament Hussein Arab Issa tells VOA members were listening to a speech on the floor of the Assembly Hall when the attack began.
All of a sudden, we just heard a loud bang, and a minute later, the gunfight ensued, and then we all tried to get out.
Issa said he and fellow lawmakers were able to escape by breaking through a back wall of the dilapidated Parliament building. Gabe Joselo, VOA News, Nairobi.
An explosion near an open-air venue packed with football fans, soccer fans, watching a televised game has shaken Jos, Nigeria. Early reports said the attack was carried out by a suicide bomber who died. It was not immediately clear late Saturday if there were casualties. There are no immediate claims of responsibility. Ukraine election monitors say armed pro-Russian separatists are likely to prevent up to two-thirds of voters in eastern districts from choosing a new president on this Sunday, despite calls from Kiev for a strong voter turnout. Armed pro-Russian insurgents have controlled about a dozen cities in eastern Ukraine for weeks, and the head of the League of Voters says he doubts that more than a third of the electorate in the Donetsk and Luhansk districts will show up. More details on these stories at voanews.com. The High Court in Malawi Saturday blocked President Joyce Banda's effort to annul this week's general election. Ms. Banda had called for a new election within 90 days, citing voting irregularities during Tuesday's election. Election Commission officials immediately challenged her decision, questioning whether she had the authority to nullify the vote. The court also ordered vote counting to continue. A gunman killed 3 people and badly wounded another at a Jewish museum in Brussels Saturday. Witnesses say the attacker drove up to the museum, entered and fired shots, then fled the scene. Belgium's interior minister told reporters it was too soon to say with certainty that anti-Semitism was behind the attack, but that was strongly suspected. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack. Prime Minister Elio De Rupo said it was a hateful assault that all Belgians reject, and he pledged support for the nation's Jewish community. Pope Francis visits a Palestinian refugee camp near the West Bank town of Bethlehem Sunday as a 3-day Mid-East tour encouraging regional peace continues. A Vatican spokesman said the pontiff will use the visit to emphasize the church's position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that includes Israel's right to exist in peace and security and the right of Palestinians to a sovereign, independent homeland. Thailand's army chief has assumed all lawmaking power in the country just 2 days after he led the army in a coup. General Prayut Chan-o-cha's junta dissolved the kingdom's partly elected Senate Saturday, 1 day after he named himself prime minister. He says the moves are necessary to restore public order and push through political reforms. The ruling military also announced Saturday that it will keep detaining former Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and other ousted government officials for up to a week. Demonstrations against the coup broke out across Bangkok Saturday, despite the military council's ban on large gatherings. The coup has also drawn international criticism. The Pentagon announced Saturday it is canceling ongoing U.S. military exercises with Thailand. The U.S. had already suspended $3.5 million in military aid to Thailand as a result of the coup. In Santa Barbara, California, a mass shooting in the area of a local university left 7 people dead. Witnesses say a young man drove through an entertainment district near the University of California, Santa Barbara, and fired shots. The shooter engaged in 2 gun battles with sheriff's deputies before crashing his car into a parked vehicle. Deputies found him dead with a gunshot wound to the head. Santa Barbara County Sheriff Bill Brown says police are trying to figure out whether the rampage is related to a video posted on the internet on Friday in which a man describes plans to shoot women. More